Hey there, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today we're going to be talking about and reviewing Murder at a Scottish Wedding by Tracy Hall. So I do have to say this was a gift to me by the author Tracy Hall. At the bookstore that I worked, we had an author signing for her, and she and I got to talking. As being an aspiring author myself, I wanted to pick her brain, and I mentioned, I write book reviews. That's what I love to do in my spare time. So she had this book and she gave it to me. It was an ARC. Better late than never. And I'm forever thankful that she gave me the opportunity to read it. I don't get to read as many cozy mysteries as I would like. It's so funny. I tell people that I actually prefer cozy mysteries to traditional mystery thrillers, and they look at me and they're like, really? Because I'm like a doom and gloom girl. My friends are just like, she's like your preppy goth, and I very much am. Um, my mother has called me that. Well, my mom has called me a hippie goth. Um, my husband says I'm a hot goth girl. um, and so pretty much I like spooky gothic things. It really much is my aesthetic, and I really do like my aesthetic. But I'm a doom and gloom girl. That's all I have to say. So when I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I'm impartial to cute, cozy mysteries, everyone's just like, really? I really do love cozy mysteries. I just don't get the chance to read them as often as I would like to. And you know what? I'm very thankful that I was able to read this book because it really was a fun, lighthearted read. It follows Paisley Shaw, and she is the matron of honor at her friend's wedding, and it takes place in the Scottish Highlands, and I loved that whole world building that went on there because it really did feel very authentic to me. It felt very much like, oh yeah, we're definitely in Scotland right now, and I loved that feel. I loved the way it felt like that. Usually when you read like mystery thrillers or anything that takes place in Scotland or Ireland, the dialogue seems to make the character sound British. I don't know if that's just how my mind interprets, the syntax and just the atmosphere of the story, but here Hall uses traditional like lingo here. There were times, I will say, there were times where I was a little confused by the lingo, but ultimately I was captivated by it. And context clues. Context clues are very important. I don't think authors really understand, like you can put context clues and not confuse your readers. Point in case, Iron Flame. That book needed way more context clues and a little less whining. But that's neither here nor there. Don't worry. Full review of Iron Flame will be coming. But I wasn't taken out of the story either by having to rely on the context clues. It flowed. It flowed, It had this natural fluidity to it that kept me engaged in this story, and I was very much invested. I did feel transported into the Scottish Highlands. I really did feel like I was transported in Scotland with the lingo and the description and just the very atmosphere of this cozy mystery. And I really appreciated that because it felt very authentic and it felt very real. So I was able to lose myself in it. And, the characters were well done to the point where, she owns a sweater store and she's just investigating this accident because her friend's family is convinced, like, no, this union is cursed. You can't marry her. She's cursed. So really, Paisley's just trying to prove a point and be like, no, this was an accident or something nefarious. Once they do discover something nefarious is going on, she's like, okay, well, she was murdered. Maybe someone was trying to murder my friend. So she's investigating this so that she can clear away all the superstition and just be like, look, see, their union is not cursed. I love her determination. I love her cleverness, her resourcefulness. She doesn't even pretend she's to be a detective. She's just like, I'm going to investigate this. I'm going to ask the right questions because I need to help my friend. She's doing it to help her friend. And I really love that about her, especially being a single mom. She was a really well done character. As for the ending, I didn't see that coming. It was unpredictable. I love when mysteries are unpredictable because if I can solve the mystery within by half of the book, then what's the point of me really reading it other than to find out what the motive was? And again, I can probably figure out the motive once I figure out who it is. The person who ended up being the murderer was not even on my list of suspects, and that's what I like. I like when the person is not even on my list of suspects. It kept me on my toes, it kept me engaged, and ultimately I really did love this book, and I really do highly recommend it, especially if you're looking for a really good, cozy mystery. Murder at a Scottish Wedding is kind of wholesome and sweet, but also daring at the same time. So, Murder at a Scottish Wedding by Tracy Hall. I'm going to go ahead and give this 3.5, a soft 4. It didn't quite blow me away, even though it did captivate me, out of 5 stars. I loved it, highly recommend it, and I do recommend this book at work all the time. So, once again, Murder at a Scottish Wedding gets a soft 4-star rating for me. I will, of course, include links in the description of this podcast on where you can purchase the book if you so desire. And on that note, please don't forget to like the podcast, subscribe to it, share with all your book loving friends. And as always, happy reading, you guys.